Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Epic Lycoris, continuing Lucas's stuff. And we're going to start in the emotion section today. So we are going to finish after his despair ending. So, yeah, okay, his despair ending then was the one where he was like, yeah, fondling our bones because we died. Okay. How the hell we're gonna manage this? Okay, so we start off as being Lucas. On fun. Okay, I just is that my carcass in the cage? In a cave? It's a new background, so fun. It's the best I can do here. Arpachel was a country possessed by death. Is that just supposed to be August? August? Like, you know what I mean? Because there's like an E in the end, like it's fancy. Anyway, Caesar, Jeanette, Rodolphe? Rodolphe? Okay. In a small cave hidden along the shore. Marie, Cyan, Hugo, Jean. Okay, I don't know who any of those were up until Cyan, Hugo, and Jean. I know them. Through the bars of the cold iron birdcage, I held the hand of Spacey that wore the ring I gave her. And this is, of course, the despair ending. So we know that they're a little fucked up and they're shorter. So I guess they're gonna just be like him talking to my corpse the whole time. Fun! Okay. Alright. This is a great way to start. Welcome to Monday. I don't know what day it is for you. It's a Monday as I'm recording this, and this is... Okay. I repeatedly spoke the names as if in prayer. I believe those are all the names of the people I've killed that remain in my memory. Okay, so this was the one where he killed Cyan. Okay. Truth be told, I knew there were far more people I had killed whose names I did not know. The only atonement I can make now was to continue offering my apologies to those I did remember. Now that I say their names, I can see very clearly how foolish of a monster I was. I'm sure you would agree, Spacey. I coughed up a large amount of blood. A few days had passed. After plunging Arpachel into chaos and despair, I'm sorry, it's just so uncomfortable. There's blood everywhere. I went into hiding here with my new wife, Spacey, to escape the resentment that spread throughout the country. This is, good times. Okay. My 23 years was nearly up. My body constantly screamed with pain and blood continued to flow from my mouth. They get really graphic in these, with the, Jesus. As my mind filled with a haze, the one time they didn't get graphic enough was killing Capucine. I'm just saying, this is what I was talking about in those parts. I realize how batshit it is to be when they're like, I'm constantly coughing up blood and and you're like, TMI. Game, you just simmer down, we get it. But then with Capucine, it's like, no, but I want a CG. I want a fucking movie. I want to see in violent, gory detail everything we're doing to him. And that's why when Lucas lopped off his head and it just rolled across the floor, it's still funny. It's still fucking funny. It's funnier that I'm so unhinged that I find it funny, and it's slightly disturbing how funny I find it, but you know what I'm saying? He deserves it. And he may be my favorite evil character. Because I love to hate him so much it brings me great joy. There's other characters that make you, love interest, whatever. We know. Hi. Fuck Toma. Although, to be fair, again, with Toma, if I hadn't played that game first and I had been used to the cage, maybe I wouldn't have, hated him as much. And when we played the fan discs, it was yeah, I don't hate him as much. I still don't like him. And I still have the irrational hate that I had from him from the beginning. But, I realize that it's probably just because it's the first time that ever happened. And I was like, what the actual fuck? And now the cage is, a fun time. So, whatever. I realize that my dislike of Toma isn't as much hate as just circumstantial. You know what I mean? But like, fuck Finn from Steam Prison. I hate him. But they make me mad. Like, no, I want to light them on fire, and I just get so mad. But like with Capucine, I'm like, it's gleeful. It's like, I just can't wait to light him on fire and stone him and like slice him up and make him hurt. It's going to be a good time. You know what I mean? Like, he brings me joy to think about torturing, and I'm just not sure what that says about me. Like, I feel like I'm bordering on being Capucine levels of insanity, but I'm not like, I'm a different kind. I think I'm a little bit better than him because I'm not like, oh, their genes, and like fucking doing horrible experimentation on children and then making a tiny little wayfish girl my bro. Like, that's just gross. Dude, there are like, horrible human experimentation is a line, but you went beyond it and you made it even creepier somehow. Like, bravo to whoever wrote Capucine. They probably are in therapy, to be fair, but so, hating him is like a gleeful experience. And it's different. And I feel like that says a lot. I don't think it says a lot of good things. I don't know. Anyway. As my mind filled with a haze. Are you all right, Lucas? Her worried voice echoed in my mind. I mean, that's literally my body humped in that cage. That lump is me. Like, she's not here. He's imagining this. Ah, I'm sorry. To think I've worried my beloved wife. I am indeed a pathetic husband. But I could no longer tell her that I'd be fine. I suppose my time is up. Death's scythe was biting into my neck. Pain filled my lungs. My head spun, warping the appearance of my beloved. Her bright hair slowly darkened in my vision, and only her porcelain skin remained visible. I'm sorry, Spacey. I will be leaving you alone in this dark cage. I took a bloodied breath. I'm going to die now. Lucas. She looked at me with sorrow. Yes, my life would be reaped by death, and I'd be taken to Hades and punished for my sins. I'd never be able to go where she did. I was a sinner and a monster with no right to live again. Thank you, Spacey. I desperately swallowed my growing feelings of loneliness and whispered my thanks in a hoarse voice as I took her hand again. No, don't do this, because it's going to be yeah, no, okay, this is right back to, this is the CG from the end where he put the ring. All right, I kind of forgot about him being like, yeah, we'll get married now, and you're my wife, and it was like so unhinged and like, oh dear God. Yeah, I remember the, like, bones in a cage and I was dead, because it's not even like she just died. Those are bones. Like, I'm a skeleton. I don't know how the hell that happened, but like, I just remember this CG. I forgot about the getting married to the corpse thing, but okay. Spacey, please stay by my side until my life fades away. Thank you for making my selfish wish come true. And it's funny because he's like, stay by my side or whatever, but he's like, I can't go where she goes. So it's like, he knows she's dead. Like, he's not totally unhinged. He's like, mostly. The door's got one screw holding the hinge on. Spacey accepted my plea back then and stayed by my side the whole time. I was sure she would see me off with a tearful face as I drew my final breath. When I die, I wonder, what kind of life will you lead? Each wheezing breath I took was another tick of the clock toward my end. If you would, please forget about me. I want you to live a good life with someone who will love you, knowing how kind she was. Don't say that. It'll never happen. Remember, Lucas, I'm your wife and also dead. Okay, I feel like maybe he's not paying attention to that one screw holding the hinge together right now. I knew you would say that. As we held hands, her cheeks turned red, and I mustered the little strength I had left to smile. No matter what happens, you and Nadia are my family. Memories of the time I spent with Spacey and Nadia flowed into a sudden jolt. Before my memories could play back, the room shook, as did the air itself. An earthquake. A natural disaster that was rare in Arpachel. And of all times, it had to occur just before my life faded away. They couldn't just let this poor man die sort of peacefully. It's not really peacefully because I'm dead and he's haunted by memories, but he's a little enough unhinged to think I'm here in the room with him, which is fine. But then you gotta disrupt his peaceful dying? Like, they really do hate him. Spacey. I instinctively pushed her further into the cage. A second later, heavy debris fell from the ceiling through the space between us. He can't even hold the hands of my corpse while he dies. Unfortunately, nothing more happened, and she was safe from the rubble that had fallen in the cave. Spacey, are you all... My vision suddenly inverted. I collapsed to the ground, my knees no longer able to support the weight of my body. The shock made me cough up even more blood. It can't be. This couldn't be my final moment. Spacey! I turned my head to look in the direction of where I pushed her. And deeper inside the birdcage, my beloved wife was lying on the ground, far beyond my reach. I reached desperately through the silent space between us, but I couldn't reach her from here. The despair of being so close, yet so far. No. Spacey. 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 Spacey! As I expended the last of my strength in calling out to her, my heartbeat grew weaker. I don't want to die. Not like this. I want to be by your side. I want to die holding you. My heavy eyelids lowered as if to separate me from this world. Spacey! From the frail finger of my beloved. A plink. The ring I gave her fell with a chime. Suddenly, her beautiful skin turned to bone. What? So they can't even let this man die peacefully, holding onto a corpse's hand, imagining it's a real woman. Like, you just can't even let him have one fucking second. One goddamn second. Wow. Wow. The chimes shook my memory. They really do hate him. I love you. Spacey's words. The real words she spoke as I killed her. I forgot about that. I knew we died. I couldn't remember how. Feeling of ripping her flesh. The warmth of her blood drenching her clothes. Her last smile she left for me. I remembered it all now. Okay, I cannot scream in agony like he is doing. So just imagine that. I can't. It's gonna hurt too much. Like, they cannot let this poor man just die in his little Delulu land. Seriously? The illusion shattered along with my sanity. Again, your sanity, again, was only really holding on by one screw, and it's totally gone now. What have I done? I wasn't leaving her behind. I had actually made her leave ahead of me. My wish to be with her until my last breath would never come true. Oh, and sure, we get a CG of this. Good times. I lowered my outstretched hand, tears of regret dripping onto the ground with my blood. I didn't have the right to reach out to her anymore. Still... like, just... I wish we were together until the end. I wanted you with me. I understood it now. Spacey, 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 Spacey. They just... when they make you scream or repeat the same name over and over and over again, it gets a little like, please don't. It's the screaming because it hurts my throat, like especially trying to scream as him. I can't do it. I'm not that good. But also then the just repeating my own name over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, okay, I could have cut that down. Could have done it like maybe 3 times. We didn't need 32. It was 4, but still. This must be... Dying without you here is so lonely. This must be my real punishment from God. Seriously, the writers think they're God. They hate you. You poor bastard. Unable to take a last look at her, I closed my eyes to keep her in my memory. And so I died, completely alone. So fucking awful. When I opened my eyes, I was facing a dark road devoid of any light, perhaps leading to Hades, where sinners were judged. Still in a daze, I was about to take a step, when I noticed a small light fly by me, heading toward a light in the distance. Spacey? The light stopped, then turned around and came closer to me. Okay, maybe they don't hate you so much if they're giving you like a hot moment here. Thank God. I knew that someone as kind as you would go to heaven. I felt myself regain the ability to smile. Please live happily with Nadia in your next life. Without warning, black flames of judgment engulfed my body. I turned my back to the light and headed down the path to Hades. Okay, they gave him like a brief second of like, you know, being like, oh, thank God, there you are. I knew you're going to heaven. Like, because like, they couldn't even let him live in his delusion until he died. I understand why, because then like him having that realization at the end, like when he sees the little light and he's like, oh, that's you and you're going to go to heaven. And he has that like at least a little loving moment for poor Lucas, then like it's better, you know what I mean? But still, goddamn, they hate him. A few years later, a girl and her younger sister were born in Arpachel, which was still cursed with death. Aww. It's me and Nadia being reborn. As the older one grew into a young lady, many men were taken by her angelic features and asked for her hand in marriage. I'm waiting for my beloved from a past life. She refused every marriage proposal she received. This hurts my heart. One day her beloved's sins would be forgiven and he would stand by her side once more. Sadly, such a future would never come true. Oh, they had to... What the fuck? Do you hate us? What have I done? I don't have the right to see you after the sins I've committed. But please, just please, in your next life, I ask that you find happiness as a normal person with Nadia. I hope I can be forgiven for uttering this prayer. They can't even leave you with anything! Every time they give you a little tiny spark in Lucas's route, they're like, snuff it out. Fuck you! What kind of a giant fuck you? Like, he's gonna die and he thinks she's there, and you're like, he's unhinged. You think, but like, whatever, he's gonna die peacefully. No, 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 and now we have to have an avalanche that knocks her body away so we can't even hold her hand, and then he's like, oh, fuck, right, I killed her, son of a bitch, and he can't even die peacefully, he has to die alone and suffering. And then when he does cross over, then he's like, oh, I'm gonna get judged, but you know what, there she is. Oh, she'll go to heaven, that's lovely, wonderful. And then it's like, okay, and then, oh, we're reborn with Nadia. That's so cute. Okay, I'm waiting for my lover from a past life. That'll never happen. What the fuck? You couldn't have even just left us. Oh, actually, I didn't need to load what. You couldn't have even left with, like, she was going to wait for her lover from from her past life. And you're like, aw, okay. Like, it's like, that's never going to happen. Like, that's not even saying that, like, it's never gonna happen in this current life. Because, obviously, she's a young adult woman, even if he was born. Your age difference, it's not gonna happen right now. So you knew that. You knew that in her current life, she wasn't gonna find him. But you still had the hope, or somewhere in the back of your mind, like, oh, okay, she'll be reborn quite a bit. Maybe if she dies naturally, whatever. And she'll eventually they'll be born together. No, it's like, nope, never. Never, ever, ever. Ever. Not even in a million years. And you're like, what the fuck? You could have just left that last line off and given us some fucking hope, you bastards. I guess that's why it's the despair after story, though, because he looks so sad in that. I don't trust this one either. And in this ending, he died, right? It was impossible to return to those happier days. But please keep me by your side. If I'm with you, I'll fear no judgment. I'm assuming this is Lucas's thought process, but whatever. My greatest source of despair would be leaving you in solitude. I'm assuming those are his things that he said, but I can't remember the Salvation ending. Aside from the CG that we showed, and I was like, he's probably dead. Okay, so which one of us is... I'm assuming we're me, otherwise it would be Lucas. My eyes opened slowly. The sky in the world where I arrived was darker than the night sky I knew. The moon was as red as blood. Fields of black Lycoris noirs stretched out to the horizon. Okay, yeah, it's us, okay. I was like, it should have said Lucas the way it did on the bad ending. Listen. If this is that we're both dead and we're in hell together, I'm okay with that. Fine. Because otherwise, you know? I didn't need anyone to tell me that this was the final destination for sinners. Hades. I touched my neck. Not a single drop of blood flowed from the throat I slit using the dagger I borrowed from Unco. Okay. I don't remember that. Listen, I don't remember the Salvation end. Where we both died. But, I really did die. I faintly recalled the burning pain I felt as I slashed the blade across my neck, though it seemed like a distant memory. It definitely was to me, because, I'm only guessing he died based on the CG, because I cannot remember this ending at all. And then I guess we killed ourselves. Okay. Unless this was a dream, I was certain that I was now dead. Well, if it's a dream, that's, listen, they're giving us hope, okay, we're both dead and that's tragic, but then we'll be together in hell, so that's something. I'll take it, right? Unless it's then I wake up and I didn't actually die and now we're living without loot, then it's what the fuck, you know? I surveyed my dark surroundings. I have to look for him. I began to walk in an effort to find him. There's not even a welcome ceremony or anything here. I ignored the anguished screams of sinners being punished, and also she just shows up here and there's not okay, hey, let's judge your sins and see where you're going. It's just figure it out. Very confusing. Apropos to hell, I suppose. You know what I mean? I want to see him. The thought alone supported me as I walked ever onward. And that's your hell, is just forever searching. Okay. I saw the back of my beloved, who was looking up into the dark sky. Tears began to flow from my eyes. I ran toward him with all my might. It's a mirage. Lucas! Oh, no, it's really him. Okay. I threw myself into his chest as he looked at me with confusion. I embraced his cold, pulseless body that was no different from mine. But that didn't matter now. I'm so glad I found you! My joy was making me hug him even more tightly. Spacey, what are you doing here? He held me for a moment, then suddenly gasped as if finally realizing what happened. Don't tell me. You came after me. I did. Hearing my reply, Lucas looked pained. Why did you do this? I'm sure I told you to forget a horrible person like me, to find happiness. It's still not too late to get you to heaven. No. I strengthened my grip on his body so that I wouldn't let go. There's no way I could find happiness in a world where you're gone. I've no intention of meeting the God that didn't save you. I won't leave you alone anymore. And now he is awing. Everybody ahs a lot in this. I know it's like an anguish or whatever, but there's a lot of that going on. There's almost too much of it. Am I the only one that feels slightly like I want to go every time? They're going and I'm going I don't know why it irritates me so much in this game. I don't know. I think it's just because they do it every few lines and it's guys, I'm gonna need you to something else. My selfishness made him cry out. Why do this for a man like me? Wasn't it obvious? It's because I love you from the bottom of my heart. That was the one and only reason. I'm a sinner that should be judged here in hell for killing you and Nadia. Oh, sorry, in Hades. I forgot. Also, I don't... Oh, look at him blushing. It's adorable. Also, there's something about when we're like, we're going to Hades. I get it. They don't want to say hell, but, like, there's something about it, too, because it's so, like, goody gumdropsy that, like... I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Every time we're talking about Hades, I'm like, what in the Hades? Like, you know what I mean? It just sounds ridiculous after a while. And I'm just like, oh. Golly gee darn it. This is awfully silly. Like, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. I'm like, could we tone it down? Like, I don't know why. Because we talk about it a lot. So it's like really weird that we're trying to like sugar cube it up, you know what I mean? So it doesn't sound as scary. And we gotta make it sound as innocent as possible. We can't say hell. You know, but it like just makes it sound ridiculous. For a game that is absorbed with bloodshed, murder, talking about blood pouring out of your mouth, guts ripping out hearts, and all this other stuff, and they can't say the word hell. It's just so weird. It's been driving me crazy for like the 30 freaking hours we've been playing the game. Like, it really has. There's just something about it that I'm like, why? I don't know. Today, I'm very hungry right now, so like, I'm hangry, so I'm being a little crappy. I'm enjoying the game though. It's getting better. I feel like it's getting better as we're going. I'm getting more enjoyment out of it. And like, I don't feel like it's a slog as much. Like, I hate to say that. It's not like it was. But like, I get Mathis is a bad place to start. There were moments in even Eve's where I was like, are we still doing this? Are we going to wrap it up? You know, where you're like, but it would start to get like, we're getting boring. And then they would bring it back around. But I didn't feel that way at all doing like Lucas's stuff. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, we're wrapping it. Okay, like, we had that moment. If you don't fucking end it now and you keep dragging it on, I'm going to be mad. And they didn't, you know? Except for the end, when we did all the bad endings, I was like, this is taking forever. But that was just me setting it up and being like, it's going to take like 30, 40 minutes. And it took an hour and 20. And I was like, all right, that's, you know, there was nothing wrong with the game. It was me and my expectations. So, whatever, you know? But I don't know why, but the and the Hades just I don't know. It's just it just is, and it's just that's what it is. It makes me want to sigh. Anyway, which is why I'll pay for my sins alongside you. I guess it does show how like supposed to be like goody two-shoes she is, even though she's death. She's like, I am a good innocent girl and I talk about Hades. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, simmer down, death. It's the juxtaposition of it. I mean, it makes sense, but Lucas raised his arms. He put his hands on my shoulders, likely to move me away, but with a trembling voice, he slowly moved his hands down my back and... You really are a bad girl. He hugged me back as he yelled, tears rolling down his face. Yeah, you better not push me away, bitch. Do you know what I did to get here? A murderer like me doesn't deserve to be loved, even in death, and yet... The tiny joy he felt blended into his anguished yell and disappeared. I didn't want someone as dear as you to fall into Hades. And so... He held me tightly in his arms, and just as he was about to cry out again, I said, let's atone for our sins together. We'll find Nadia and head back up to the surface. Nadia should not be here. Nadia did nothing wrong. The sound of his sister's name reminded him that she had been freed from her mutated body. No, Nadia deserves a better family. My soul's impure now, and I must be punished here for eternity. But the Watchman of Death who makes that decision said he'll be waiting for us on the surface. I remembered his gentle push against my back when I set out on my journey to this place. I don't think Anko's in charge of this shit. Adolphe, how the fuck did you manage that? Like, I'm in charge now. I wanted to see him again. I wanted to give him my thanks and apologize with Lucas after he paid for his sins. At that, Lucas's tears slowly stopped. I believe he does. I mean, you do have some penance to do, but like, eternity? I feel like there should be extenuating circumstances. Listen, and it's not just because you're beautiful and we kind of like you. It's, I have to say kind of like, because if I say I love you, then it feels like I'm saying, like, I love Cyan. Okay, come on. Let's be real. Who's also going to end up in hell. Let's be honest. But, like, Lucas was also brainwashed, so I feel like it's not like he made the choices to kill people because, like, yeah! Yes, he kind of was like, okay, sure, but also was brainwashed, so I feel like, you know, he shouldn't be held 100% accountable for all the stabbing he did. You know, maybe like 50-50. You know? Anyway, at that, Lucas's tears slowly stopped. Ah, I see. I almost forgot who you are. Even though I know I should push you away. Now that you're here, I have no other choice but to make your wish come true. This time, instead of lamenting, Lucas embraced me again with joy at our reunion. Listen, if our happy ending's gonna be us serving time in hell, like, whatever. Good enough? Question mark? I mean, Lucas deserves better, but, like, the game hates him, so this is the best we can hope for. You know? I'm sorry, and thank you. He kept repeating those words over and over again. I could feel the spark of fire caressing our skin. We slowly moved away, then took a look around at our surroundings. And if we're going to be here for eternity, we might as well be even naughtier. Don't make me read it, though, but... So, this is what Hades looks like. Indeed, a beautiful yet fearsome sight fit to punish sinners. Just as Uncle said, Hades was blooming with Lycoris noirs as far as the eye could see. I'm going to need you to simmer down. Let's go. This is probably not the place where I must pay for my sins. Perhaps it was instinct. I just don't want to get too fighty. Don't you too fidgety. You're getting buggy. You gotta simmer down. Lucas gently held my hand and began walking as if being led somewhere. I know. The sound of sinners screaming and wailing completely faded. I was now quietly walking with Lucas through an endless world. At times, we brushed against Lycoris petals, which were as hot as flames. They burned us mercilessly as we passed. Spacey, use my body as your shield. No. I also have my own sins to pay for. I need to accept all the pain and suffering this world decides to punish us with. Lucas frowned with pain for a moment, but... Accepting pain and enduring it seems similar, but they're completely different. So please, if it gets to be too much, let me know. I don't want you to force yourself through it. Understood. I'll let you know if I can't take it anymore. I hope you won't force yourself either. We both nodded to each other and took another step, when suddenly... Interesting. Our surroundings changed, and so did the background. Look at all those mirrors. A halberd flew through the air and pierced Lucas's body. Huh? Before I could fathom what just happened, the hand that was holding me released, and Lucas fell face first onto the ground like a doll. Is his penance to, like, be murdered and have his heart ripped out and all that as many times as for as many people as he killed? Because, like, that could be fair. Lucas! I felt the blood drain from my face, and before I knew it, I was screaming. Before my hand reached Lucas's body, there's 3 Boros. Multiple clones of him appeared in front of us. They relentlessly began destroying Lucas's body. This is not exactly how I thought this was going to go. Stop! Just as I lunged forward, one of them looked at me and sent a merciless slash across my torso. Pain surged down my abdomen. Fortunately, I hadn't been cut in half, but the wound was undoubtedly fatal. But you're already dead, so you're just gonna, like, regenerate. Blood gushed out of my body to the point that I felt as though all my innards would flow out as well. See, they get graphic like this, but they can't say hell. But before that could happen, my flesh began to regenerate. It was as if I had gained Anko's power. Well, again, you're not alive. I looked up in confusion and... Similar to me, Lucas regenerated each time his body was killed. Each of the clones continued to kill him multiple times, ensuring that the greatest pain was inflicted upon him. Do you need to go potties? I know, you had tummy issues today. I know, it's something you ate. You'll be okay. We just got to make sure you don't have any more snacks. You got to have healthy foods. Because you had very, very runny, squirty poos today. That's too much information for people. You gotta go potties? I don't want you holding it. That's better. That looks a little better than it did earlier. You're holding it too long, though. I know, buddy. You'll be okay. It looks much better than it did earlier. You got to get you back to eating normal. Not having no more cookies, no more snacks. You eat too much junk food over the last couple of days. Yeah. You're eating things you're not supposed to. Because he's nice to you and I let you have cookies. Maybe the cookies upset your belly. I let you have cookies yesterday. I know. Terrible bird mom, but I let you have treats. But you know what? Maybe they bothered you, so you shouldn't have them. You gotta make sure you drink lots of water. Your own water, not mine. Because my juice drink that I have has a little bit of protein powder mixed in it, and that's probably not good for you. You can't have that. I know. I made muffins the other day, and the muffin mix was a little old. They taste fine, but then I'm like, maybe my vegetable oil isn't it smelled fine and everything was fine, but I was like, maybe it wasn't as fresh as it could be, because I don't know when I bought it, you know what I mean? Because there's no date on it. Should be, but there's not. And it doesn't smell weird. Sometimes I've had it before where you go to make something and you're like, this tastes like ass. Okay, that canola oil or the vegetable or whatever was not good. You're like, nope. Okay. So, but I'm like, maybe it was getting there where it's a little bit longer and it would have been better, you know? So maybe that's what it was. We shouldn't have any more of those muffins. You had a couple bites yesterday because they're fine for you. So maybe that's what it is. So we won't have any more, and then you'll be all right. You'll be fine. You better be fine. You're never allowed to die. You know that, right? Ever. If you do, I die with you. You have to live forever. You're only 10. It's so sad. You're 10 years old. It's a third of the way through your life. Could be a half, because you could only live 20 years, and that'd just be traumatizing. You're middle-aged. Oh, my God. But you better live to be 30. If your lifespan's 20 to 30 years and you don't live at least fucking 30 years, I'm going to resurrect you and then choke you. I know, I will. I will. I'm going to be mad at you. Why are you talking sternly to me? He's doesn't. You don't understand. I know. I tried to pet you, but you're getting fighty and bitey. You're feisty. I think you're okay. You're definitely not sick. But your tum-tums might be not good because you had a bite of that muffin this morning, so that's probably your problem. But it's okay. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. And keep this beak. You keep it. It's very bitey and very painful. You're such a brat. If you're this bitey and feisty, then I think you're okay. You'll be fine. Anyway. Stop! My extended hand was stomped on and crushed from the wrist up. Each Boro exacted their judgment on him and continued relentlessly punishing the sinner Lucas Prowse. Stop them. Don't get in their way. I feel like we should stop them, but I feel like Lucas would tell us to not get in their way, and we would get slashed and bashed. My gut wants to stop them, but is it penance for what he did, so maybe we should not get in their way? I don't know, this is really hard. I feel like the logic here in hell should be, the opposite. We'd be like, stop them! But it's hell, so maybe we should, Yeah, okay, it's in hell, so we don't get in their way. Okay. And I mean, I guess that would also, Lucas would be like, no, I deserve this, so. Because he was like, no, I'm going to shove you away. You better not shove me away, motherfucker. I wanted to stop them, even if it meant killing them somehow. But I knew this was one of the punishments we needed to face in Hades, so stopping this would mean we would never be able to atone for our sins as we had wished to. Lucas probably saw it the same way, as he didn't put up a fight. This is my punishment as a sinner. The crimes I committed so easily. The fear of death. I need to learn from what I've done. Biting my lip so hard that it bled, I decided to comply with his wishes. The clones were silent as they continued, as if following the original's footsteps. They crushed and sliced. They gouged out his heart. See, like we can say shit like this? We can't say how. They continued to take away Lucas Proust's life and dignity. I wondered how long I had watched him die and revive again and again. For all I knew, it could have been nearly a month. As for me, I too was being killed repeatedly by the clones that descended upon me, which is just weird because I don't feel like we should be getting the exact same punishment. Like, we deserve, we're going to get punished because we took our own life, but we really didn't have a hand in destroying everybody that, like, Lucas did. Is it because we knew he was the murderer and we kind of, like, didn't say anything? Like, I mean, I guess. I knew that it wasn't right to compare deaths, but he was killed hundreds, thousands of times. He wasn't allowed even a moment of peace. My punishment seemed a bit lighter than his. You didn't kill thousands of people. Well, maybe he didn't kill thousands. He killed hundreds of people, though, probably. At least 100, if not more. Each Boro continued to kill Lucas without a change in expression. After carrying out the final execution, they carelessly discarded Lucas's body, as if they were throwing away a rotting doll. Lucas. As my crushed legs slowly regenerated, I dragged myself toward Lucas so that I could be by his side. He was still breathing. The pupils of his eyes widened and contracted violently. The pain and despair. So this is what I've been doing to others, with a smile. It seemed like he was in even more despair about his own existence. Lucas. It was true that Lucas inflicted unreasonable deaths onto others. I wasn't sure what I could say to him. What about it was purifying? It was nothing but a massacre. Why wasn't I able to realize something as simple as that? Lucas lamented and began questioning himself. All I could do was gently pat his back and console him. I cursed myself for being so useless in a situation like this. Soon enough, Lucas slowly raised his head. He took a deep breath and dried his tears with self-hatred. Thank you. I'm fine now, Spacey. The sins I add in my name do not cease after death. If I fall to despair now and fail to pay my penance, I will have insulted every soul I've stolen. Lucas. He slowly got up to his feet and tried his best to support me. Don't force yourself. We should find a place where you can rest. At the very least, you should walk at your own pace. Very well. We supported each other and headed onward. Before long, we discovered a small space with no Lycorises around. We should be safe from being burned here. I slowed Lucas to a stop and urged him to sit. He was able to stand earlier, but he must have been pushing through the pain. The weakened Lucas slowly fell to his knees and sat on the ground. You're not okay, are you? There were no wounds to treat, so I wasn't sure what else I could do. I'm all right, but... He glanced at me. I can see some blood remaining on my cheek from the reflection in Lucas's eyes. After enduring countless deaths, his expression became more pained than ever. Why you? You only tried to stop me from continuing my massacre. His regenerated fingers gently wiped away the blood on my cheek. I can't stop regretting what I've done. If only you had never met a ruthless murderer like me. Perhaps you could have found happiness with someone who respected life. No, I didn't come all the way down here just to see this expression. But the one who pushed him this far was me. Lucas understood that I wanted to atone for our sins together. It didn't mean he agreed. Now that I was here, he knew there was no turning back. Only that the reasons we were here were completely separate. A thought came to mind when suddenly I could hear the sound of giggling, the whisper of a young girl amidst the dancing Lycoris petals. We both turned around at the voice that sounded so familiar. She should not be here. This better just be a ghost. Just ahead we could vaguely see a small shadow standing in the field of Lycoris. Soon it spread out like a blur across our vision. Spacey. As Lucas covered me, the shadow swallowed us whole. Ah, no, just another torture. Okay. Spacey. Spacey! At the sound of a gentle voice, I opened my eyes. What kind of torture is this going to be? Good morning. It's quite unusual to see you waking up so late. Lucas? In front of me was the face of my beloved. Why am I here? Oh, is still in a dream, are you? Or perhaps you're not used to this life yet. We started living together a week ago now that we're lovers. I suddenly remembered. I'm sorry, Lucas. I guess I was still half asleep. Okay. Good morning to you, too. Yes, good morning. I hope today will be another wonderful day for you. My beloved, who slept beside me every night, laid a kiss onto my cheek to greet me good morning. Listen, if we're going to be in Delulu Land, I'm okay with that. After changing my clothes, I quickly headed to the kitchen to make breakfast. Something's going to go wrong here, though. We have a lot of eggs that we got from the neighbors, so maybe I should cook something with plenty of eggs and vegetables for breakfast. Understood. Shall I start cracking these eggs then? Lucas offered his help and happily picked up an egg, but before he could tap it against the rim of a bowl, he accidentally crushed it in his hand from the sheer strength of his grip. I'm sorry. I wasted the egg. It's okay, we just need to pick out the shells. I'd be very grateful if you kept helping me. Understood. I will do my best. His seriousness wasn't something that would normally be directed at cracking eggs, but... Lucas fumbled with the eggs as he gingerly attempted to crack them. At first he couldn't crack them well enough to avoid the shell fragments, but... Despite shaking during the whole process, Lucas finally ended up with enough eggs in the bowl. Seeing this many is really impressive. Yes, I'm looking forward to the meal, but first, shall I go ahead and peel the vegetables? Lucas followed my instructions, carefully holding the knife in his right hand and a potato in his left. Just a moment. Maybe you can help me mash the potatoes instead. I tried to stop him, but it was too late. I heard his quiet voice a second time. Vibrant red blood began to drip from the tip of Lucas's finger. How has this man ever eaten? That's all I want to know. How has he ever fucking eaten that he does not know how to crack an egg or peel a thing without stabbing himself or crushing the egg? Like, I mean, I get the strength thing is what crushed the egg when he picked it up, but like, how have you never touched food? Like, how is he like, what? You have not been living in your mom's basement. You're a grown-ass man. How have you been eating? Have people been giving you food? Have you buying it? You never made it yourself? You have never made food yourself. Ever. Seriously? Like, get get this from incels that live in their mom's basement and never fucking leave the house, that maybe they don't know how to do anything but make a Pop-Tart. And we ain't got Pop-Tarts in this world or toasters, so, like, I get it. But, like, how in this world has this man never fucking made food for himself? That he's so inept. I mean, I get it, we're in hell, and this sounds like a nightmare. You're like, oh, dear God. Like, you're trying to help, but you're making my life you're making my life hell. Like, and she's just all calm about it, but, like, I mean, I just find it funny that this man is so inept that he can't, like, you know what I mean? I mean, to be fair, peeling a potato or something, like, or carrot or anything, that's what you have little peelers for. You don't slice your finger off with a knife, but, like, you know, you can manage it when you're going to go peel something. Like, when you're going to try to, like, anytime I've, like, tried to cut up a pineapple, you got to be careful. You got to get a giant fucking butcher knife. I'm sure there's a way to do it that doesn't involve having to use a butcher knife to try to peel the skin layer off. But, you know, when you're using it, you're careful. So, like, I don't know. I'm so very sorry. It looks like I'm only getting in your way. I hurriedly fetched our first aid kit and tended to his finger as his shoulders slumped with disappointment. I mean, it's adorable that he's trying to help, and slightly, I almost want to say it's adorable he's so inept, but at the same time, it's like, no, let's not normalize men being completely fucking inept with a vegetable. Like, how have you ever eaten before? Like, seriously. Fortunately, the cut wasn't very deep, so the bleeding quickly stopped. No, don't worry. I'm just happy I'm able to spend time working with you, Lucas. What did you used to eat before I started living here? Okay, here you go. I'm glad she asked. I used to buy from the marsh when I was busy. With as much as I consumed, my cost of living was rather astounding. So I began to focus on mostly vegetables as much as I could eat. Nadia would probably scold me if she knew I was eating unbalanced meals. I wouldn't be surprised. Still, I'm glad to know you were cooking during the time you had off work. If he was cooking, how does he not know how to peel a vegetable? Without hurting himself. Was he just, like, chopping them up with the skin? Listen, when it's red potatoes, you just clean that shit off. You cook them with the skin. But you know what I mean? Like, yes, but now I need to learn to refine my technique, or I will end up relying on you for everything. I'm also happy that I can cook with you by my side. I'd love if we could practice cooking together. I'm nowhere near as skilled as Mother. And I mean, I get if he's like, I can cook instant noodle. You know what I mean? Like, you cook simple things, but like the fact that you can't crack an egg and you can't peel a vegetable tells me you weren't eating vegetables. I would just get carrots and eat them without peeling them, like, whatever. Absolutely. I'll observe you as my new teacher when it comes to cooking and daily chores. What a refreshing thought. The mornings I greeted with Lucas were always calm and warm. It was as if the world was blessing our lives, yeah, which again seems like a con right now. I'm so happy. If only time could stop so that this day would never end. We can't be so lucky. But hey, to be fair though, even though we're probably in hell and this is going to go awry, right? We are starting out, like, at least we're having a moment where we're like, look, it's cute and we're happy. It might be delusional and we're going to get tortured a little bit, but like, hey, it's happy for a minute. And maybe that's hell's plan. Like, we're going to be like, we're so happy and everything is so wonderful. And then you're going to rip it away and that's going to suck. But for how much this game hates Lucas, it's really nice we're getting these touching moments. Like, we've got to look at it like that, right? Even if you are going to torture us and rip it away. At least we had these moments. Because this poor man has not had a happy moment ever. So, later, we went on a stroll through town since Lucas didn't have work today. We held hands and headed to the marsh to figure out what we should have for dinner. The weather was great and the streets were busy. Hey, you two there! How would you like some freshly squeezed grape juice? One of the merchants called out to us, you know. Sounds good. In his hand was a cup of purple juice that glimmered under the bright sun. Oh, grape juice. I don't normally see this sold in Coen. You're right. Grapes weren't rare, but they were slightly more expensive compared to other fruits, so most were sold at Cheetus's marsh. and he bought them as a small luxury on days like payday. A friend I know in Cheetahs was able to give me a good deal for these. If you buy some grape juice, I'll add some cookies my wife baked fresh as a bonus. Lucas and I looked at the price posted on the signboard. With the cookies included, it was a very reasonable price. Since we're here, perhaps we should buy some. Yeah, let's. After we paid, the merchant handed us wooden cups of juice and some cookies. This smells really good. Yes, let's enjoy them. Curious, I took a sip of the grape juice first, and how delicious! It's so sweet and aromatic. I don't know why, like I have a juicer, and I used to make juice a lot more often, and I've done apples, and you put a little bit of cherry inside your apples. It makes really good, or obviously fresh fucking orange juice is so good. But I never made fresh grape juice, throwing grapes in a juice. I think I put them inside of other juices when you make green juices, because you're sometimes green things don't taste good unless you put an apple or grapes in with it. But I just never, my brain is well, that's duh, but you know what I mean? You make apple juice, throw an apple in there, or throw an orange in there, but you never think of grape, and it's duh. Because although I don't know fresh grape juice, because grapes don't actually taste like grape flavor. You know, when you buy grape flavored things, that's not real grape. That's fake. That tastes nothing like grapes. An actual grape does not taste like grape flavored stuff. And I know a lot of people hate fake grape flavored things. I like fake grape. I do like grape soda and stuff. But so I don't know what real grape juice would taste like. Because it certainly isn't the, I don't know. Because I think the last time I had grape juice was probably as a child. And was that just real grape flavor? Or was that with artificially with the fake grape flavor? You know what I mean? And how did we get fake grape flavor so wrong? If you have things that are banana flavored, they taste as nasty as fucking bananas. They taste but grape? Grape candy doesn't taste like a grape. You know what I mean? It's blue raspberry. It's blue. It's not, there's nothing about that that's raspberry flavored. It's good, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't taste this is a weird conundrum. Why does fake grape not taste why is it grape but it's not grape? How have we never fixed that? To be fair, if they fixed it and they made grape flavoring taste like actual grapes, then you wouldn't have fake grape flavor, and I like fake grape flavor. You know what I mean? But it really doesn't taste, it tastes like purple. It doesn't taste like grapes. This is a weird conundrum my brain can't handle, and I don't know how we got here. Well, obviously we're drinking grape juice, but it's so bizarre. Anyway. Indeed, I think this may be the first time I've ever had such delicious grape juice. With that, Lucas took another sip. The more I drank, the sweeter it tasted. Maybe I can use this for my recipes, or for baking cakes. I was determined to save money so that I could share this delicious grape flavor with the children at the orphanage. I continued to savor the tasty juice while thinking of all the things I could create. Again, it's hard to read the white on white right now. I would love for Nadia to try some as well, but I'm not sure whether they'll still be available by then. A murmur of Lucas's younger sister, who was still in the hospital. Aw. I'm sure Nadia would like the taste, too. Is it next week that Nadia is scheduled to be discharged? Yes, thanks to Dahut's assistance in finding a cure. See, I like this Delulu hell we're living in. This is great. Let's stay here. Her genetic disorder has been fully cured. She's now able to walk on her own. She's been very excited to leave the hospital as soon as possible. I can imagine. A month ago, the hospital where Nadia was admitted was found to be conducting inhumane and illegal research and was exposed by the Institute. This is if the game liked Lucas and we actually had a real happy ending and he also wasn't a murderer. Afterward, Nadia's treatment was carried out by Dahut himself. Soon he was finally able to discover a cure for her genetic disorder, which was previously thought to be terminal. After 12 years, she was finally able to get somewhere apart from a hospital, or go somewhere apart from a... So now we know she's 12. Okay. It must be an emotional moment. I couldn't fathom the stress Lucas went through from being deceived by Capucine, but I was glad both he and his younger sister were safe and sound now. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna get ripped away from us because we're like, yeah, he was deceived by Capucine, all this and everything, except for we're forgetting the murderer part. And, like, we wouldn't just be able to walk around unless everyone was like, huh, Boro, don't know who he is. You know what I mean? And, like, and obviously we were in hell, so. Once Nadia gets out, why don't we do things that she couldn't do before? Maybe taking a stroll and going on a picnic might be fun for her to shop at the marsh, too. Even if they've run out of grape juice, we can find a way to make some together. I excitedly shared some ideas that could come true as soon as next week. I was sure that Lucas would wholeheartedly agree, but for some reason it seemed as though he was blinded by the thought of that future, or rather that it pained him to hear of it. Lucas? I put down my cup and asked him what happened. He then took a deep breath and... Once we're done drinking our juice, why don't we continue our stroll? And I would like to visit Nadia before the sun goes down. Is that all right with you? Yeah, of course. I wasn't sure why Lucas looked so sad during our conversation of a happy future, but it took only a few hours for me to find out. And it's going to take us a few hours to find out because we're going to end here and we're going to continue this tomorrow. So you're going to find out in 23 hours because 24 hours would be like right now. And this would start an hour early. You get what I'm saying? Approximately 23 hours from now, depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching it the day it goes up, then it's 23. If you're watching it 2 years later, then you can watch the next part in like a minute. So anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.